much for showing up today for DeKalb County, for our animals, and for the future we are building together. My name is Michelle Long Spears, and I serve as a District 2 Commissioner and Presiding Officer. It is my honor, my pride, and my joy to welcome you all to the second annual State of DeKalb Animals Address. We are here today because we know that how we treat our animals reflects who we are as a community. Caring for our companion animals is not just a matter of kindness. It's a matter of public health, of safety, of equity, and of compassion. It affects the lives of our residents and the soul of our neighborhoods. When I first took office, I heard from so many of you that I see here today. Advocates, rescues, shelter staff, veterinarians, department heads, volunteers, and the list goes on. You all shared your deep concerns about the state of animal welfare in DeKalb. What I heard moved me. What I saw, I could not ignore. Out of that urgency, we launched the Save Our DeKalb's Animal Initiative. But let me be crystal clear. This effort did not begin with me. For years, for decades, this movement has been powered by the tireless work of individuals and organizations who are sitting here today and have devoted their lives to this cause. In 2024, the first State of DeKalb Animals Address gave voice to that work. It called our county to take action. Since then, together, we have made progress, real, measurable, and meaningful progress. And yet, we know there is still so much work to be done. Today is a moment to reflect, to recognize, and to recommit for our county's animals. We will celebrate the victories, both large and small, that this past year has brought. And we will look ahead, united in purpose, to ensure that every companion animal in DeKalb County is treated with the care, dignity, love, and protection they deserve. Thank you for being here. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for standing with me. And thank you for stepping in. Let's continue this work together. Please let me introduce, oh, y'all are sweet. Thank you. Please let me introduce some of the fantastic, hardworking people that are with us today. First, I'd like to give huge shout outs to the members of the District 2 team. If Miss Sonia Thaler, our Chief of Staff, would wave her hand, please. Beth Ganga, our Policy Director. Beth has been a staunch advocate and animal rescuer for, I believe, close to 2 decades. We also have Lori Marion and Joy Osai, who handle communications and constituent services. Say hello, ladies. And last, but certainly not least, the individual who got us here today, organized all of you in this room, had to put up with a whole bunch of texts and calls from me, our consultant for SoDA, Karen Duncan. Now it is my pleasure and honor to introduce the elected officials in the room with us today. And disclaimer, if your name is not on my list I will give you a second at the end to stand up, and I apologize in advance. So first off, my friend and mentor, former Commissioner Jeff Rader. Where is he? There he is. Mr. Eric Hubbard, representing Congressman Johnson's office. Hi, Eric. Good to see you, my friend. Clerk Deborah DeBerry. Where is she? There she is. I love taking pictures with you. You're so much fun. Truly, truly happy, proud, and honored that our CEO, Lorraine Cochran Johnson, made time out of her busy schedule. Hey, Lorraine. If y'all haven't noticed, she is everywhere. You must have a duplicate out there somewhere, I'm just saying. All right, next we have my friend, State Representative Carla Drenner. Yay. Mayor Brian Mock. Commissioner Robert Patrick. Commissioner Ladina Bolton. Council Member Alex Wan. Doraville Council Member Warren Simmons. And Council Member Simmons, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making time on Tuesday to come out and speak in support of our litter registry ordinance. Let's give him another hand. Superior Court Judge Morris. There she is. Hi. Mr. Demetrius Pinkett, who's representing District 5. Representative Long Tran, District 80. There he is. All righty. Did I forget anybody? Stand up if I did. Oh, great job, D2T. We got it. Okay. That makes me very happy. Okay, moving on to some other folks I would like to recognize. We're also joined by our Animal Services Advisory Board, which was created not only to advise DeKalb County government on the well-being of animals, but they have also guided us on our long-term plans related to our companion animals in our community. The advisory board truly inspired the SoDA initiative, so I will always be deeply grateful to all of you. So let me call your names, and please stand up. We have Tamara Archie. Are you here? Thank you for being here. Sonali Saindane. David Kipp. Hi, Mr. Kipp. Donna Gaines. Rosemary Coben. Did I get that? Please forgive me. I just say it. Thank you. Hi. And Bo Day, a new appointment from District 7. Again, to all of our advisory board members, y'all are truly rock stars. You're on the front line, and you have done so much to improve animal services in this community. All righty, moving on. The Animal Advisory Board is not the only group that has helped shape this work for animals. The advocates for DeKalb animals work tirelessly to support our companion animals in countless ways. They are a great group of people. I refer to them as the red shirts. I've gotten to know many of them well. I probably have more pictures of you all from the dais than y'all have of me, so I take them every time that y'all show up at our meetings. But let me get back to my script. I really could spend the rest of my time here introducing all of you that have contributed, but if all of our advocates would please stand for a round of applause. Thank you. Again, we are deeply grateful for your leadership in our community. Next up, I would love for everyone here who works for our shelter, has volunteered for our shelter, or has supported our shelter in another way, please stand so that we can recognize your contributions. Everyone here who works for a rescue group or has worked for a rescue group, please stand. Ooh, great. Moving on, I'd like to introduce our SoDA steering committee members. They have helped to truly guide our work for the State of DeKalb Animals Address that we're hosting today, as well as the activities, programs, and services for our Save Our DeKalb Animals initiative that we launched last year. So if you would please stand when I call your name. We have Rosemary again, if you'd stand up and give us a wave. There she is. Colleen, there she is. Hi, Colleen. Victoria Collier. Ray, pardon me? Victoria and Ray had to leave for a family emergency. Oh, okay, all right. Well, they're in our prayers, both Victoria and Ray. Andrea Rockstar Seidel. If you really want a strong advocate in your corner who is not afraid to speak up, tell you how it should be done, and then respectfully say, I've said my piece, and get back to work, it would be Andrea. But I am super grateful for you, truly. Sonali Saindane, please stand up again. There you go. And last but not least, Dana Davis. Dana, thank you so much for coming to the business meeting earlier this week and presenting great remarks on the importance of the SoDA initiative. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize members of our administration. We've already recognized our esteemed CEO, Cochran Johnson, but she can give us another wave. There she is up front. COO Zach Williams, are you here, Mr. Williams? He is not, but trust me, he is here in spirit. He has, well, look at that. We just had a welcome from a puppy. This would not be an animal event without having some barking, right? And the puppy agreed with me. All right, if all of the other, oh, actually, one person very special, Mr. Lumpkin, are you here? There you are, right in front of me, Mr. Director Lumpkin. He is our public safety director. He has been a force behind the scenes in supporting all of the animal services needs, supporting proposed legislation, and just a truly great law enforcement leader, and we really appreciate you. Let's give him another hand. All right, the rest of the members of the administration, police, fire, sanitation, watershed management, anybody else who's here, please stand. Finance, oh, thank you guys, thank you. Thank you very much. We are blessed with both having DeKalb Fire Rescue, the awesome chief we have in DeKalb, award-winning, and my dear friend Gary from the Decatur Fire Department. So thank you for being here, gentlemen. All righty. All right, animals don't see district lines or county boundaries, and that's why it was so important for us to work with other commissioners, to work across district lines to create real, lasting change for all of DeKalb County. I proudly serve the people of District 2, but this initiative serves every district, both super districts, here in DeKalb. We have 7 districts. All of the DeKalb County commissioners support animal well-being in their own way. Many of the commissioners have also joined us in this work directly, not only dedicating funds to save our DeKalb animals, but also committing their time, their staff, their energy, and again, their resources to directly support this initiative. So now, let's take a moment to hear from some of the fellow commissioners. The awesome DCTV, where are you here today? There you are, stand up DCTV. Miss Diamond Lewis and her team. We appreciate you. You guys do amazing, professional, beautiful work. And they have worked really hard on pulling us a video today to get for all of the folks, all of the commissioners who have financially supported this initiative. Thank you.
Hats off and kudos and great appreciations to our presiding officer and Commissioner of District 2, Michelle Long-Spears, for your leadership and your tenacity and advocacy for addressing the animal welfare issues in our county. Working with our animal advocates, our advisory board, all of our volunteers, everyone who is part of the animal welfare system in DeKalb to ensure that it's fair, that it's efficient, and that we're leading with compassion and leading with a heart. I know that together we can ensure that our furry friends are loved, taken care of, and ultimately have an amazing future home.
This address actually gives us an opportunity to shine a light on all of our friends and animals, those that are great and those that are small here in DeKalb County. It also reminds us of our collaborative responsibility and obligation that we have for humane treatment, for safety and care of our furry friends.
I'm especially excited that we are highlighting the state of DeKalb animals because the initiatives we've supported align very well with District 7's goals. We have brought on someone to the advisory board that has a nonprofit called Pups and Pumps, who they try to work through persons who have been involved in domestic violence, bring them together or partner them with pups that need homes, and so they become emotional support animals. And we love the idea of the vision that our appointee has and how it fits so well into what we're doing with the state of DeKalb animals.
Animals are near and dear to our heart. They are very important for our well-being. As just simple citizens here in DeKalb County, we look forward to partnering with the rest of the BOC and the CEO's office and making sure that not only are we addressing and taking care of our animals, but pushing initiatives that will also take care of their humans, which will in turn help take care of the animals.
Pets take a lot of time, a lot of care, and patience. They are like children. They need love, they need attention, and just make sure you're giving them all the care that you can possibly give them as if they were your child.
Our pets are human. They breathe, they feel, they eat. They cannot take care of themselves. And so therefore, it's up to us as a community to do what's right and good for our pets. Pets become a part of your household, a part of your home, and they've always been in mind. My son's pet had cancer, just like we have cancer, and so there was a big investment that we had to make with the health of our pet.
Pets are the kind of thing that after you've had a stressful day or something hasn't gone right, no matter what, they're always there to care for you. And I think that it's a reasonable expectation that all of DeKalb County cares for our pets, even the ones that may not have homes right now. it's important to take care of them because really they take care of us.
Our shelter, we are open intake, which means so many dogs are coming into our shelter every day. Really, our community makes the difference for us in helping these dogs find loving homes that are perfect for them.
We do the work that we do so that our pets can have a good home, so that they can leave the four walls of the shelter and enter their forever home and thrive. So that process is bittersweet, but it is certainly much sweeter than it is bitter.
Someone told me a long time ago, nobody cares how much you know, they want to know how much you care. So just giving that care and also being able to give back to the community and give back to these kids is one of the greatest accomplishments in the world.
Again, we really want to give people opportunities to get used to pets and what they're like outside of the shelter and in your home. And even just spending a few days in your home can mean so much for that pet.
It's really a beautiful process that's deeply fulfilling to see a pet that you really care for finally be able to take that first step into their best life.
Nice job, DCTV. Thank you. And to all of my fellow commissioners and the other folks that participated on the video, we appreciate you very much. We're so very thankful for the contributions of our commissioners and their teams. We would never be able to accomplish as much as we are doing, and we will do without the support of the other commissioners. So thank you to Commissioners Ted Terry, Marita Davis-Johnson, Nicole Messiah, Shakira Johnson, and Dr. Ladina Bolton for financially supporting our Save Our DeKalb Animal Address and our Save Our DeKalb Animals initiative for 1 year. So one more round of applause. Before I introduce our esteemed CEO, I would like to recognize someone I know who has been a District 2 resident for a long time, a leader at Emory, and she has a birthday today. It's Miss Betty Willis. Stand up, Betty. Happy, happy, happy birthday. I hope it gives you some pride and joy to celebrate your birthday, honoring animals, because she is one big dog lover. So and also, we truly appreciate you helping us with coordinating the Emory Conference Center, and shout out to Emory Conference Center for hosting us today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All righty. We again are so happy to have our CEO, Cochran Johnson, did I lose her? Present with us today? Oh, she's gone? Okay, CEO. Well, guess what, y'all? That just saved us a couple of minutes in our agenda. Huh? Oh, okay. I believe that Commissioner Dr. Bolton is going to make our CEO's comments. Well, come on up here. That is teamwork, everybody, despite what you might see sometimes.
I'm going to do my best to read it just the way she would, even though this is my first read. I didn't get an opportunity to look at it, so we'll all be surprised. Okay. Well, good morning, and thank you, Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears. Thank you to our red shirts. I know she loves you guys so dearly, for your tireless leadership and for hosting this important gathering once again. It is an honor to join you for the second annual State of DeKalb Animals Address. This event is more than a progress report. It is a reflection of our collective conscience. It challenges us to consider how a compassionate, well-resourced animal services system is not just about animals. It's about people too. It's about the kind of community we are, all of us, our elected officials, our advocates, our advisory board members, stakeholders. It's about the kind of community we are and the kind we want to become.
as your CEO, you know, the lady that just left, she is proud. So I'm going to change a few words because it's not me, so I'm not going to say I, but she is proud that DeKalb County is taking bold, intentional, and inclusive steps toward a future where no animal suffers from neglect, abuse, or displacement. Together, we are building a system grounded in care, equity, and common sense solutions. Solutions that recognize the deep connection between human well-being and animal welfare. Today, we'll hear from experts and leaders who are moving this work forward in real, measurable ways, from expanding shelter capacity to increasing access to services for pets or pet owners in crisis. She wants to thank Cole Thaler from the Atlanta Humane Society for joining us as keynote speaker and for shining a light on the critical intersections between housing, safety, and pet companionship. Yes. Okay, she crossed some stuff out. Give me just a sec. Okay, yes, challenges remains, but apparently so does her commitment. And she highlighted this part, so I'm gonna read this carefully. She wanted to make sure that we noted, and she's especially proud of the 120 modular units for immediate relief of overcrowding. And we had an opportunity to see those. I believe it was on Tuesday, and they are absolutely beautiful outdoor, I'm gonna call it facilities, but they're modular units for the animals. They will get so much fresh air. And these are my words here, not hers. I believe we should do more of that. I think I prefer that over the building, over the facility. Oh, okay, so let me get back on to reading. But this is not a moment of pause. It's a moment of momentum. We are modernizing our approach, improving infrastructure, and advancing policies that will support both our two-legged and four-legged residents for generations to come. So let us leave here today not only informed, but inspired. Inspired to invest in solutions, to advocate for the voiceless, and to see animal services not as a side effort, but as a central pillar of public service. Thank you again for your commitment. Thank you for your compassion, and thank you for believing in DeKalb, where all beings, human and animal, have the chance to live safe, healthy, and dignified lives. Let's continue this work together. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
And let's give one more round of applause for one of our newbies, Commissioner Dr. Ladina Bolton, for standing in and doing a great job. You certainly got a laugh out of all of us, so thank you. All righty, moving on, I believe that Ms. Karen Duncan is going to come to the podium for something special, Mentimeter. I refuse to do it because I don't know how. So.
I will be the great clicker of things. So if you have your phone out to take pictures of this beautiful event, go ahead and you can scan this code. We're going to be asking a very important question of all of you. How many pets do you have in your home? Let's see how the number, let's go to the right screen. So once you've gone in, you can also go to menti.com, and I will go back to that QR code because I switched way too fast. And then once you're in there, you can let us know if you play auntie or uncle or sibling to random pets, or if you have a few of your own. Of course, if you live in DeKalb County, you don't have more than 3. So if anyone votes on the 3+, they clearly don't live in DeKalb County.
Why?
We are limited to 3 pets in DeKalb County, and soon, you know, they are required to all be rescues, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if that's on the books, but. All right. Oh, so now let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. We've got a good run, 3+. I assume most of those are 3s, and the pluses are our neighbors who came to see what DeKalb's up to. Obviously, you know, don't tell Director Lumpkin otherwise. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking part in this. I am going to turn it back over to Michelle. We just wanted to get a little involved. There is another question that is going to be presented on the Mentimeter that you'll be able to go to. And it is going to be questions that you can submit for our speakers at the end of or that they will answer at the end. We will try to get to as many questions as possible. If we aren't able to get to your question, I will be sharing my email, so you can just tell me what they are, and I'll try to track down answers for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. I think we have 2 or 3 more of those, right? Mentimeters? Okay, very good. All right, next I am delighted to introduce our keynote speaker, Cole Thaler. Cole is the program manager of Atlanta Humane Society's Pets in Crisis Support Program, which strives to keep pets and people together through varied hardships, including housing loss, domestic violence, and health crises. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Cole Thaler.
Good morning. I don't know how I can follow those last remarks. Does anyone want to read my speech? Probably do a better job than I would. So I'll give it my best shot. Thank you to Commissioner Long-Spears and to her amazing colleagues and team for organizing this important event and for inviting me to speak. My name is Cole Thaler. I am a lawyer, and for 15 of the 20+ years that I've practiced law, I represented Georgians living in poverty in both rural and urban settings. I spent a decade representing Atlanta tenants in their battles against negligent landlords. I now work at the Atlanta Humane Society, not practicing law, but managing a crisis foster program called the Pets in Crisis Support Program. I came to that position after 4 years as a volunteer helping run a nonprofit crisis foster rescue called Pause Between Homes. And for the last 15 years, I have lived in South DeKalb. My 2 greatest passions are housing justice and animal welfare. I came to my current paid animal welfare job after many years in the human service world, representing some of the most underserved and marginalized Georgians. And I bring that lens to the work that I do to keep pets out of the shelters and with their people. I'm going to talk with you today about both ends of the leash, as they say, and how it is essential if we want to succeed in the work that we do on behalf of the animals to develop the competency, sensitivity, and knowledge to serve the humans who love them. Quick poll by a show of hands for the animal lovers, or the animal owners in the audience. Raise your hand if you meet these 2 criteria. Raise your hand if you own a pet and you consider that pet a part of your family. Great, thank you. I would say that's a solid majority, probably 100%. So why is it then, when we fill out a form that asks for our family composition, it asks how many adults are in our household and how many children, but it rarely, if ever, asks about the pets? And why is it that so many so-called family homeless shelters, places of last resort, only accept some family members, not the whole family? And why is it that we see so many bumper stickers and t-shirts, even within our own movement, proclaiming simultaneously our love for animals and our disdain for people? We are all part of the same family. I'd like to tell you about Christine and her two cats, Bruce and Wayne. By the way, these are not the real Bruce and Wayne, these are paid actors. So Christine is a middle-aged woman with a disability who was renting an apartment in South DeKalb off of Candler Road, and her landlord hiked the rent. And Christine fell behind on her rent payments. She wasn't able to keep up. Her landlord then filed an eviction, what Georgia calls a dispossessory, in DeKalb County Magistrate Court. Not long after that case was filed, Christine found her way to my program and submitted this application. Many, perhaps most, of the pets that cross the threshold of our shelters and our rescues have had at some point in their lives a person who loved them, who considered them part of the family. But then something happened, or a bunch of things happened, and that bond was severed. Let me tell you about Shadow, and I know this picture is horribly blurry. It's the only one I have, so I apologize. I think you can make out the basics there. I received this photo and an address from a friend of a friend who also lives in DeKalb. So I drove over there near Flat Shoals Parkway, and when I got there, it was very clear to me what had happened. Taped to the front door of a rented townhouse was a writ of possession, which is the final order in an eviction case that allows the county marshals to remove all of the property and the people, if there are any left, who are living in that rental unit. Household possessions were piled up at the curb, and in the middle of the front yard was Shadow, a beautiful gray pitty, left behind. Now, let's just pause for a moment and feel our feelings about this situation. If you are like me, the feelings that come up are anger, outrage, sorrow, frustration, all leading down to one thought: how could they? How could they? Based upon my research and experience, I can tell you that eviction filings in Georgia, compared to many other states, are cheap and easy. The filing fee for a dispossessory in DeKalb County Magistrate Court is $54. The piece of paper that the landlord has to file to start the process is 1 page long. At the time that Shadow was left in the yard, the state of Georgia did not require landlords to give their tenants any particular advance notice before they filed the eviction. Now, as of July of 2024, tenants are now entitled to a whopping 3 business days to catch up on rent before their landlord files the eviction. Once a tenant is served with the dispossessory warrant, they have just 7 days to file their answer to that document in court. If they miss that deadline because they are sick, or they don't know how to read, or they're just confused by the words on the form, they lose their case. If they do file their answer on time, they get a hearing before a judge. In DeKalb, the hearing might be a week or 2 later. But poverty is not a defense to an eviction. The injustice of a $7.25 minimum wage is not a defense to an eviction. And if the tenant loses in court, as most of them do, the landlord can proceed with the writ of possession. The relative speed and ease of Georgia dispossessories is one reason why out-of-state investors have flocked to the Atlanta metro area to buy up houses and apartment buildings, and why our state eviction rate is significantly higher consistently than the national rate. Compared to many other states, Georgia tenants are easy to get rid of. But where do those displaced tenants go? Now, the lucky ones sign a new lease somewhere else, somewhere that won't hold it against them that they have a fresh eviction filing on their record. Some double up with family or friends. Some move into extended stay motel rooms or homeless shelters if they can find a bed, or into their vehicles if they have one. Some sleep outside or in abandoned houses. Some sleep in rented storage units or on MARTA. If those are your options, where does your pet go? Say you're one of the lucky ones and you do find a landlord miraculously who won't look at your past eviction history and is willing to rent you an apartment, but they have a 30-pound weight limit on dogs, or pitties are not allowed, or pets are not allowed. What do you do with this beloved member of your family, a piece of your heart? I took these photos. Momo on the left was living with his family in a homeless encampment under a highway overpass. Frankie on the right lived in her dad's car with him. For both families, their dogs gave them comfort, companionship, and a reason to keep going. When food was available, their dogs ate first. Other families reach out for help with urgency and desperation. All of these applications came in within one single week. The reality is, we are not yet at a point where safe, inclusive, and affordable housing is available to all who need it. This is not a matter of an individual's failing. This is not a matter of laziness or dishonesty or any of the other traits that our culture and media all too often associate with poverty. This is a systemic and structural failing, the result of thousands of decisions made by thousands of people over decades. We can make other decisions. We are building a better and more just world. But it takes all of us rowing in the same direction and never losing sight of the whole intact families we are laboring for. So let's revisit Shadow. And let's imagine Shadow's owner. Just picture her in your mind. Let's imagine we had the chance to speak with her 1 week before this photo was taken, or 1 month, or 6 months. Imagine the worry on her face when she tells you, I am about to get evicted and I don't know what to do with my dog. What do you tell her? How do you help her? Without judgment, without blame, only with love. We are in a crisis, my friends. We are in a housing crisis. We are in a poverty crisis, a crisis of families being permanently separated for lack of better options. But there is good news. We can do something to ease the suffering. We can build a better and more just world. We can use the tools at hand to design new ways, and when necessary, we can invent new tools. I want to leave you with a few concrete suggestions for where our work is needed. There is so much work needed and so many ways for us to help, but here are just 3. For those of us who work in human service fields, ask about pets at intake. Bake it into your standard intake questionnaire, whether you work in a hospital, a food pantry, or a homeless shelter. I have gotten more than one call from homeless shelter staff who did not know until days later that one of their residents had a pet in their car in the parking lot and was going outside to feed and walk the pet. They never asked. They never ask the question. To all of us who work in animal welfare, ask the people who request surrender appointments about their needs. What type of supports would allow you to keep your pet? What do you need that you don't have? What resources would be most useful to you? We won't know if we don't ask the questions. And asking these questions means that we are responsible for learning what resources do exist in our community and that may be able to help. We can pool our knowledge and learn from each other. We desperately need pet-inclusive homeless shelters in Metro Atlanta and throughout Georgia. Some domestic violence shelters are already welcoming pets, but homeless shelters have got to get on board. And it's not just shelters. Permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, transitional housing, tax credit housing, market rates, we must urge them in targeted and strategic ways to keep families together. Crisis foster programs like mine will never be sufficient to meet the need. Some of you may be familiar with The Melody, which is a rapid housing development that Atlanta opened a couple of years ago. This is permanent supportive housing for 40 disabled and formerly homeless tenants, complete with wraparound services. If you look to the left of the Welcome Home sign, you'll see a little area with some red chairs and a gate. That is a dog park. The Melody is pet inclusive, to my knowledge, a first for permanent supportive housing in Atlanta. This should be the model everywhere. And finally, we must examine our own biases and extend our compassion without judgment equally to animal and human. People living in poverty face judgment 100 times a day from 100 different sources, and I can promise you, judgment has never helped. To conclude, I'm going to show you pictures of 7 pets who almost ended up in our shelters, but their families reached out for temporary foster help as a bridge, and they received that help. And when the humans got back on their feet, at long last, the families were made whole again.
Thank you so much. That was truly beautiful. Were y'all in tears or almost in tears? I know I was. Next, I'd like to introduce a woman who I have an immense amount of respect for. Sonali Saindane is a force to be reckoned with. She chairs, I believe you're still chair of our Animal Services Advisory Board, and has been a staunch advocate for fixing our court-held dog issue. We really, truly appreciate you. You were also instrumental in the development of the Animal Services Advisory Board 5-point plan, and I'm very, truly grateful to you. So without further ado, Sonali, make your way up here.
Thank you again to everyone, Michelle and your team, for just giving me this opportunity. I also want to give a big thank you to Director Lumpkin for just with his guidance to the advisory board, putting up with us, putting up with me. We are a pretty vocal group, and it's nice to have mentors like Director Lumpkin and Michelle and everyone else. So thank you again. So this is the DeKalb Animal Services Advisory Board's 5-year plan. We came up with this plan. This plan was developed and presented to the county in March 2023. It is a 5-year plan, from 2023 to 2028, and the recommendations that were provided were based on the data that we collected, both shelter data and enforcement data, in the previous 5 years. So, and that was from 2018 to 2022. So as I'm going over our 5-year common sense solutions, I want you guys to keep in mind that these are big concepts. Some of them have been fleshed out. Many have not been fleshed out. So the next step would be direction from the county on who will develop SMART goals from these big framework-like concepts. Many of them are still in the form of framework, and we need to now, look at the next step as far as making them specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, as we call them, SMART goals. So the first one is more space for DeKalb needs. Our first one is secure temporary space to meet the current needs. And that is, I am thrilled, thanks to the county, that is taking place. We will soon have our overflow units, which are now called it's called the Pet Neighborhood. And that will house, I believe, roughly 100 or a little bit over 100 dogs, which is amazing. And I'm very grateful to everyone in the county for supporting that. This will improve the care for the dogs that are living in the smaller kennels in the shelter, and many of them are spaces really meant for cats. So this will improve their quality of life, the quality of care for these dogs once they transition into the overflow units. It will not increase more space, or it will not increase the number of dogs that we can still have in the shelter. For that, we would need to expand the shelter. But again, that's a framework or a concept, and it needs to be fleshed out. There needs to be a needs assessment based on current and projected intake, which will also depend on our economy, where things are going, the housing crisis, as we've been discussing, enforcement of ordinances, all that play into the number of animals that are coming in, the resources that are put into the community. So we will need to have a needs assessment on, what the current intake looks like, what is the projected intake, what are the current outcomes looking like, and what are the projected outcomes that we feel will look like. And based on that, those conversations can take place, but we're not there yet. But I am very thrilled to see that we have overflow units, and those are very close to being finished. Number 2, staffing for excellence. So again, this is where we need to come up with goals. When we presented this was now 2 years ago. These were broad concepts. We knew that there needed to be staffing, increase in staffing and increase in compensation and benefits and that sort of stuff. A lot of it has taken place thanks to the county. There has been an increase in budget for both departments to support compensation benefits for both the shelter and the enforcement. Staffing levels have also been increased. But again, we haven't really done sort of a needs assessment. The needs seem to be growing because of the number of animals that are coming in and the needs in the community that require all the attention. And then in terms of the provide effective training and professional development for both shelter staff and animal enforcement, a lot of investment has been made into training in both departments. But again, we never really fleshed out what kind of training and what that looks like, and that sort of stuff. Our intentions when we came up with this, and again, this was 2 years ago, was training that really impacts effective implementation of policies and procedures. But I mean, again, big picture, we didn't really come up with smaller goals. But I know that a lot of training and professional development has taken place in both departments. Number 3, support for people and families. I mean, I have to give it to the commissioners and the CEO and everyone that works in the county that we have really made headways in this area. We have a lot of thanks to the county, we've made a lot of growth towards the spay and neuter area. We just had a spay-a-thon, and I believe, let's see, how many animals total were? 191 animals were altered as a result of this, which is a huge deal. Yep. And this was a huge collaboration between the county, Michelle's office, Georgia Pet Coalition, and other groups as well. And it was a tremendous success. And of course, LifeLine, they housed it in their clinic. So this was a huge success, and I hear this will take place again. So this is wonderful. We have a monthly pet food bank now, where end of the month, people can go to the shelter and pick up cat food or dog food for their family pets, which is amazing. We didn't have anything like this before, and this is thanks to you guys. We have now TNR vouchers for community cats, and so far I believe 100 cats have been spayed or neutered through these vouchers. So we are doing a lot, we, meaning the county, is supporting a lot of initiatives, and therefore a lot is underway and has been taking place lately. We are definitely in a much better place today than we were this time last year. However, we are in a crisis right now, and the needs are always outpacing all the resources that we keep putting in. A lot of people are, again, as you know, they're experiencing evictions, growing prices, being able to afford vet care for their pets. Those things still loom, and there is a huge need for that, even so. And when it comes to community cats especially, one of our big recommendation was establishing a community cat resource center. This is because 90%, maybe a little over that as well, of the TNR work, trap, neuter, return work, which impacts community cats, meaning outdoor cats, is done by volunteers. It's done by people in the community. And you know, the food has gotten expensive. These cats also need vet care. They also need preventatives. So there is a huge need for especially this sort of need in the community that is a way that we can look into in helping more. And in terms of building fences and shelters to meet adequate care for pets, we were just thinking of what are some ways that we can help in the community to keep pets outside of the shelter. And this was sort of one way. But again, it hasn't really been fleshed out, and we need direction on how to move on some of these things, or who will take charge in these things. Okay, number 4, prevent more homeless pets. Animal enforcement team has done an excellent job in enforcing our existing ordinances. I can tell I look at a lot of animal control records. Because I follow so many court cases, the first step is to look at the incident reports and that sort of stuff. So I'm very familiar with what they look like and what takes place, and I can tell you that I have personally seen tremendous improvement in this in the last few years. Required business licenses for animal breeders to include posting of a financial bond. Remember, we came up with these solutions or big concepts 2 years ago when no one was really talking about the breeding legislation that was just passed. But one big concept that we were thinking about was actually having have the breeders post a bond in the event that there is a violation with the requirement of the license. And at the time we were thinking of licensing that there's money that can be used as a consequence, sort of like an escrow. But again, all these concepts were developed 2 years ago when we weren't really talking about the breeding legislation that we just this week passed. And then the last one is institute new ordinance to ban unlicensed breeding and sales, which is what we just, we passed a similar ordinance. We didn't, it went from licensing to a registry, but basically the concept was very similar. And then number 5, address lengthy stays of court-held dogs. Institute policy of animal services staff and prosecutors to urge animal surrender. That is taking place a lot more today than it was 2 years ago or a year ago. And it's because we're having these conversations now. Clarify status of animals and create an animal advocate. Again, this needs to be fleshed out, what this role looks like, what is the job description for an animal advocate. Next one, establish a 15-day impound fee bond. This is something similar to an ordinance that is in one of the counties in Arizona. And basically, it's an automatic where you post a bond for your animals while they're in the care of the county. And it's done automatic, so there's, it's independent of filing motions to dispose or a cost of care types of things. Utilize motion to dispose after first failure to appear, and then the last one is utilize cost of care in all cases not resolved within 30 days of impoundment. Again, we came up with this 2 years ago, and this was sort of our idea of how do we get legal movement on these court-held animals. But thanks to our county law department, we have made tremendous, we've had tremendous success in this. Last year and the year before that, when we counted our court-held animals, and mostly they were dogs, they were anywhere from, 80 to sometimes as high as 120. And today, right now, we have 30 animals held for court, which is huge. It's like a ton of bricks just fell. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for the work that you guys are doing. It's unfortunate that we have to get the county law department involved, but it's really nice to see the support and the expertise that has come from this. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. Things like motions to dispose, cost of care. No one was talking about this 2 years ago. No one was talking about it. We didn't even know what it really was because a lot of counties were not using them. Some were, but it was still very, very new. And now, just 2 years later, it has become part of our everyday vocabulary in the animal world, which is a really big deal, and it's a culture change, it's a mindset change, and again, I'm very appreciative of everything that you guys are doing. I think that if for next year when we have our SoDA event, what I would love to see is that to maybe have these petitions and these motions filed sooner. The reality is that we still have a lot of dogs that end up staying in the shelter, for 3 years, 2 years, nearing 1 year. So as we are getting familiar and used to and being more efficient in filing these, that they happen sooner so that animals are not waiting for their time and sitting in limbo without a solution. But I feel that we've come a long way, and it's because of conversations that are taking place and leadership that is willing to do something outside of the box. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you. And then I am going to show you guys a very short video of former court-held dogs. It makes me want to cry when I see it. I tried to keep it as real as possible. This is what life looks like for them. So it hasn't been edited. It's not pretty, and it is what it is. It's an animal shelter. But when we talk about why it's important to file these petitions, why is it important to prioritize promoting these dogs once they're released from court, or finding fosters for these dogs, because they're spending so much time in the system, I wanted there to be a face to the discussion, well, many faces. And so I hope this tells a story.
Hey, girl.
Progresso, sit. Sit, boy. Sit. Sit. Good boy. It's okay.
Right. Forgot I get to play again. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. Hey, girl.
Sorry, guys. So I tried to make sure that everything would be absolutely spot on for the tech, and the tech god said no. It's too early, you're not doing that. But we have another Mentimeter, so we can go right back to that slide again. And we want to ask a quick question just to get kind of an idea of where everyone is. We will steal your ideas for future use. But if you go to this, there should be a second question that you can submit a word or an idea, and we should be able to make a word cloud of what you think of when you think of improving animal well-being, how we can make things better for the animals around us and the people around us, and really what comes to mind first when we do this and when we talk about this work. Yes, and so you can see all of the different ideas, and as it'll combine, and obviously there's one that is a strong contender, and so if anyone has some donations they want to make, I can set you up with some really good organizations or some commissioners. I don't know how that works. We can do that. But thank you so much for your participation, and we wanted to just make sure y'all were with us, and we will be stealing your ideas for future use. And we will publish these after, if all goes right in the world, so we can kind of see where we all were during this program. And hopefully you should also be able to submit your questions. If anyone has any issues, you can kind of flag me down and I can take your question directly.
All righty. Moving on. Well, first, before we do so, I did want to thank Sonali for your moving presentation and your video and everything that you do for our county. Thank you. Next is Miss Peggy McCarthey. Wave your hand before you come up, and now we're going to start making your way up here. If you guys don't know Peggy, she has been so successful at the state level with advancing, not just pushing now, because you did that for a long, long time, but this year was hands down one of the best years for the passage of state law in decades, from what I understand. So without further ado, Miss Peggy McCarthey.
I'd like to thank Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears for inviting me to speak today and provide a quick summary of legislation for 2025. A printed copy is available at the GPC, the Georgia Pet Coalition table out in the foyer, along with other handouts. Feel free to take one home. 2025 was an encouraging year for sure, with incremental progress for animal protection. This is one of the dogs from the Boxer Rescue that came to the lobby day at the Capitol. And 7 out of 10 beneficial animal-related bills passed, and they just didn't pass. They passed with strong support, overwhelming support from lawmakers. So thank you to the state lawmakers that are here in this room today. And I'm going to quickly go through 5 of the bills today. I wanted to mention sources of problematic breeding. This is important for lawmakers, both local and state lawmakers, to understand. The first source of problematic breeding are accidental breeders, or accidental litters, which are a huge problem in this state. Essential solutions to this involve education, resources, and access to affordable spay-neuter. Quite essential. The second source of problematic breeding is intentional reckless breeding for profit from backyard breeders and puppy mills that provide very little, if any, sufficient welfare standards for their breeding animals as well as the litters themselves. Laws are generally needed in this area. You need a heavier hand to deal with backyard breeders and puppy mills. HB 331 is one of GPC's priority bills, and it targets these backyard breeders. It prohibits the transient sales of dogs, cats, and rabbits in unregulated locations, regardless of licensing or authorization. These locations include public and private parking lots, sidewalks, streets, parks, and seasonal flea markets. A flyer with frequently asked questions will be available the first week of June, and in particular will address enforcement because there are some challenges that will be addressed. HB 331 exempts animal shelters and rescues that possess a GDA shelter license, transactions that are part of an event or show sanctioned by a national breed club or association, 4-H programs, or similar agricultural exhibitions, as this does not apply to livestock, and prearranged transfers between a seller and a buyer that take place at a law enforcement station parking lot, and these are known as safe trading zones, and they have camera surveillance. HB 331 does not apply to a person giving away an animal or sales that take place at a seller's residence or place of business or a veterinarian's office. So this law does not prevent people from selling. It does prevent them from selling in unregulated locations. Another bill that the GPC worked on, and in collaboration with the Georgia Veterinary Medical Association, is educational loan repayment for veterinarians in shelter medicine and nonprofit pet sterilization. As many of you know, we have a very dire need for vets in the nonprofit sector. And this loan repayment program would provide $75,000 for 3 years of full-time practice in either shelter medicine or pet sterilization. We cannot provide access to affordable spay-neuter without sufficient veterinary staffing in these clinics. And we have many clinics are short-staffed and have a backlog of surgeries. The Georgia Pet Coalition was not directly involved in HB 177, but we heartily supported it. This provides for the inclusion of pets in protective orders for dating violence, or domestic violence and dating violence. And as many of you in this room know, there was a strong correlation between domestic violence and animal abuse, and this bill highlights that problem for judges. Senate Bill 105 is a telemedicine bill spearheaded by the Georgia Veterinary Medical Association. It amends the vet-client-patient relationship and authorizes vets to practice telemedicine under certain circumstances in rural areas. HB 91 was amended to SB 105 and helps provide a better pathway to licensures for foreign vets who also can work in shelter medicine and pet sterilization. And I would like to recognize the executive director of the Georgia Veterinary Medical Association, who I have had the privilege of collaborating with over the past 2 years, and that is Dr. Carrie Reddick, if you would raise your hand right there. And she has provided a handout at the Georgia Pet Coalition table that explains SB 105, what it does and doesn't do, and also I want to emphasize that poison control, the use of poison control from out-of-state entities was not impacted by this bill, and that's very important to reassure clinics and individuals. SR is Senate Resolution 255, and that was adopted this legislative session, and this creates a Senate study committee on how to combat unscrupulous breeding practice, which we know are puppy mills. And Claudine Wilkins will be working on this committee headed by Senator Cardin Summers, and their study committee should conclude in December. The last bill I want to mention made overwhelming progress this year. It passed the Senate with really strong support. It's awaiting a House vote, which will happen next year. This is the first year of a 2-year cycle, and we're very hopeful for the passage of this bill. It adds cockfighting to Georgia's dogfighting law, and it increases the penalties for bringing a minor to a fight. And it's sad to say that Georgia is the only state without a state-level cockfighting law. And why this is so important, we have a federal cockfighting law, but to enforce it, you need federal agents. And so by having a state-level law, we can then make use of local law enforcement. So we need this law. And we're counting on our state lawmakers to pass this in the House next year. And I want to give a special thanks to Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears for obtaining support statements for HB 331, Senate Bill 20, and Senate Bill 102, as part of DeKalb County's official 2025 legislative agenda at the Georgia Capitol. So we are all in this together, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you so much, Ms. McCarthey. We really appreciate you, and I applaud you on all of your successes this year under the Golden Dome. Moving on to our esteemed county attorneys, Mr. Matthew Welch and Niki McDonald, who will talk to us today about the passage of several items at the county level and some items that we'll be working on this year, some legislative items, policy, that we'll be working on this year, most likely into next year. And I am going to speed my comments up because we are officially running behind today. But without further ado, Matt, Niki, you're up.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Commissioner Spears said, my name is Matt Welch. I have the honor of serving as your interim county attorney here in DeKalb currently. With me today is Niki McDonald. She is the supervising county attorney who runs the team of lawyers who do all the good work that you've been hearing about here today. She'll be talking to you in a few minutes about the process behind the motions to dispose and the cost for care resolutions. So in addition to being a superstar litigator, Niki runs that team. So like most of us in the law department, she wears many hats. We're thrilled to be here with you today to talk about the ongoing efforts the county's making to address animal welfare from every legal angle available to us. Just by way of background, I did wear my seersucker so you could pick me out as a Southern lawyer. We wear them in the summertime. I got this as a gift 27 years ago today when I graduated from the University of Georgia School of Law, and I wear it on summer Fridays. So just by way of background, I am new to the county attorney role, but I am not new to local government, and neither is Niki. This is our second stint working together. We worked together at the Fulton County Law Department many moons ago, and have both been in the DeKalb County Law Department for over 10 years. So animal welfare issues have taken a larger percentage of our time, and specifically Niki and her team's time, over the past couple of years as animal welfare has risen in importance in the county, and as the 5-point plan that Sonali laid out has been, as we begin to implement that throughout the county departments. So as I said, as members of the law department, we do wear many hats, from representing the county and its many divisions and employees in court, to reviewing and drafting ordinances and resolutions, and offering procedural, policy, and legal guidance. We also manage many things in the animal welfare arena. So, as to animal welfare, the lawyers in the DeKalb County Law Department have two primary roles. First, we've worked with the commissioners and the administration, primarily through District 2 Commissioner Michelle Long Spears. I'm proud to say I am a District 2 resident, and her team to draft, review, and implement new ordinances that are in compliance with applicable state law, but bring DeKalb forward in its efforts to enhance animal welfare. Second, our lawyers appear in court regularly on cost of care and motions to dispose. Today, no fewer than seven, including me, 6 are listed there, I included myself, 7 of the 20 attorneys in our office spend some portion of their time on animal welfare matters under Niki's leadership. They're listed here for you. So many of you, I think, have seen them in court and see the fine work that they do. So, what have we been able to accomplish so far? What has changed? 3 new ordinances or resolutions have already been adopted and come into effect. I'll talk about each of these in a little more detail. But the 3 major accomplishments so far are the cost of care resolution, the transient sale regulations that have now been brought forward into state law, and the litter registry ordinance. So as to the cost of care, sponsored by our own District 2 Commissioner, Michelle Long Spears, and adopted in April of 2024. It became immediately effective. What did this resolution do? A little bit inside baseball for y'all. As the county attorney, if I feel the need to file affirmative litigation in the name of the county, I need the approval of the governing authority. I think that makes sense. Nobody wants me out there making decisions on my own. So what we did was get blanket approval from the Board of Commissioners and the then CEO, though it remains in effect, to file cost of care petitions when legal requirements are met. In other words, we do not have to take each individual item and seek permission to file on behalf or in the name of the county. This allows us to move this process much more quickly, and we are thankful to the board and the CEO for that level of trust. So what has that done? And I'm happy to tell you, these numbers are already outdated. We had a successful day in court yesterday, and we had 10 additional court-held animals surrendered. So, what does that mean? And for this one, I have to get out my glasses. That means as of today, in the last year, 184 court-held animals have been surrendered. That's a 50% increase year over year. That takes the percentage of court-held animals in the shelter down below 5%. We understand that is a small part of the problem, but it is one that we in the law department have the power to attack, and we are very pleased to share these results with you. We hope that those year-over-year increases will continue. All right, and that's just a few statistics on what we've done. Again, 184 now, not 174. And just so you see how frequently we are in court and filing, that amounts to a couple of things every week when all put together. All right. The second major piece of legislation that has come into effect is the transient sales regulations, again, sponsored by District 2 Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears. This was adopted last October and became effective immediately upon adoption by the governing authority. Much like the state law that I believe is about to come into effect, this prohibits the outdoor or transient sale of dogs, cats, and domestic rabbits. Of course, we can only govern unincorporated DeKalb, so that's where this portion applies. That's a portion of the county where these rules apply, although again, they're about to go statewide, which is fantastic. It does include, just like the state law, exceptions for safe spaces for out-of-county breeders to deliver pets to new families, including police and sheriff's departments, and the sales in the safe space, such as the vet's office that was just discussed. Our ordinance also does encourage the municipalities within our borders to adopt similar regulations, though again, at this point, great news, it's gone statewide. Just this week, the Companion Animal Litter Registry Ordinance was adopted by our Board of Commissioners. This was co-sponsored by District 2 Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears and former Commissioner, now CEO, Lorraine Cochran-Johnson. As noted, it was adopted just this week. It will become effective around January 1st. We built in a period for education because this is a major change for the way that business will be operated in the county. So what does this what does this Companion Animal Litter Registry Ordinance do? It piles on top and fills in the edges around the state law around breeders. It restricts owners of a female dog, cat, or domestic rabbit who is not a shelter or a pet dealer from allowing that animal to produce more than one litter in every 12-month period, from allowing that animal to produce any litter before the animal has reached 1 year of age, or to transfer any offspring of such animal before that offspring has reached 8 weeks of age. I think this is a great step forward and really enhances the county's ability to deal with those accidental litters as well as those backyard breeders who maybe aren't complying with the state law registration. point of just personal privilege here, one of the animals that I call part of my family is a beautiful beagle that is named Raquel Welch. Rocky was actually rescued from a beagle puppy mill. We got her when she was only about 14 months old, and she had already had puppies. And she had heartworms. She is my son's best friend and a very important part of our family. So this piece means a lot to me. So those are the three things that we've been able to accomplish so far. What is still coming? We will continue in the law department to file cost of care petitions and motions to dispose where and when appropriate. Niki's going to talk to you about that process in just a moment. The other things that we're working on, we do have two additional ordinances that Commissioner Spears and her team have brought to the law department that we have under review, and we are trying to find the right way to fit them in around the state law and enact them here in DeKalb. One is a potential retail sales ban, or at least regulation, to again further limit and control where and how animals are transferred in DeKalb County. And then the second piece is an update to the county's existing tethering and confinement ordinance. Some really detailed notes have been provided to us. And I would be remiss at this point if I didn't acknowledge the help of Professor Lisa Milet from the University of Georgia. Professor Milet has been absolutely instrumental in helping the law department, helping D2, bring these items forward in a way that makes sense and that is defensible. She has been a fantastic asset. And again, 2 years ago, a lot of this was brand new to the law department, and she was just fantastic in helping educate us around the size and the scope of the problem and helping us identify avenues to attack that problem. So many, many props and thanks to Professor Milet. And so one of the, as I understand, is or has left Georgia, but one piece of her legacy is in this anti-tethering and confinement ordinance. She has made some extensive suggestions of how we can strengthen what the county already has on hand, and we have that under review, expecting hopefully to bring both these items forward in short order. Now I'm going to turn it over to Niki to talk to you a little bit about how she and the 6 other attorneys in our office that work on these matters handle the motions to dispose and the cost of care.
Was that for me or was it for Matt? I'm gonna say it was for me. Good afternoon, everyone. I've been introduced, but I am Niki McDonald. I am the supervising attorney over the public safety team in the DeKalb Law Department. And it is my pleasure to kind of lead the team that is in court for the motions to dispose and the cost petitions. We have affectionately named ourselves the dog team. I know this, all animals encompassing. And because we're in Georgia, dog is spelled D-A-W-G. So you get it, you get it. But filing these motions and going to court is very time consuming and very labor intensive. And so I just wanted to be very transparent in saying that. But we have a multi-layered approach to this, and I like to call it the tools in our toolbox. And I know that Matt and Sonali, thank you so much for that thank you. Thank you for the thank you. That really means a lot. But the 10 dogs that were surrendered yesterday were through the efforts of the Solicitor General's office. And so that is another tool that we have in our toolbox. They have been very proactive in encouraging the owners to surrender their animals, and it has been very effective. So the motions to dispose are filed in criminal cases. The operative word is there must be an existing criminal case. And what we do is we have to get the consent of the prosecutor because the animal is being released as evidentiary evidence. And we go to court and we try to do those, and we've been the most successful when the owner has missed court or when they are in bench warrant status, because it is easier for us to argue that the owner has essentially surrendered their interest in the animal, and we have been successful in those efforts. Another tool that we have added is prior to doing the cost petitions, we have started sending demand letters to the owners of the animals to ask if they would voluntarily surrender the animal before we actually go to court and try to seek cost of care. The responses have been interesting. Some have been radio silence. Some have been very nasty, ugly emails and phone calls and people telling us that we've kidnapped their pets, bless their hearts. And some actually do voluntarily surrender the animals. And so, again, another tool in our toolbox. Now, the biggest one are the cost petitions. Very labor intensive and very time consuming because they are essentially mini trials. And as Matt and Sonali have said, this is kind of a new phenomenon in DeKalb County, and so it was a learning curve for both the law department and the judges. And so we have to draft the petitions. The law does require personal service, at least initially, and so we are in constant contact with the sheriff's office and the marshal's office to get those served. Tacking is allowed, and I will be transparent in saying that we have had to take a deep dive into that issue because some of the judges were a little uncomfortable with the tacking because they did see constitutional issues. But we were able to get over that hurdle, and so I think the judges are okay with tacking now. And so we will continue tacking where we cannot find the owners. But like I said, it is a mini trial. We are doing openings, we are doing closings, we are doing cross-examinations, we are introducing evidence into the record. We actually honestly had a kind of scary moment because one of the owners was visibly upset in the court, and we had to be escorted back to the office by the marshal deputies. But there are also heartwarming moments, and I see Ms. Hadley back there, but Ms. Hadley was one of the fosters that personally emailed me, and when she saw me in court, the first thing I did was hug her. And so I appreciate the support and that you all give us, but I want to stress it is a marathon, it is not a sprint, but the numbers, they do not lie. We are definitely making progress, and we just appreciate your support and patience, wink, wink, as we deal with these cases one by one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate our law team. I know many of you have heard their names, but never seen them live before. So thank you for joining us. I know how busy y'all are. Moving on to our next speaker, Miss Rebecca Guinn. She is the executive director and founder of LifeLine. I think everybody in this room knows who you are. So I'll conserve a little time and just ask you to come on up.
I have a, let's see, will this work? Look at that. Awesome. Karn, all's good. Commissioner Long Spears thanked me as I walked up, and then really we all owe her a tremendous thank you and applause. I've been doing this for a minute. I say that it's aged me, that I'm only, really only, I better move it up to 40. I'm really only 40. But actually, I've been doing this for a minute. I have, by far, she is singular in her commitment and dedication to this issue. And obviously, we wouldn't be here without you, but I don't think we'd be so far along without you. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the work that she has, I don't know, inspired and led in the county. I also want to thank a couple of other people. It's really a privilege, and there are a lot of people here in government. If you don't know this man, you need to know him. He is really someone I've come to admire and respect and love to work with, and that is DeKalb County's Director of Public Safety, Chief Jack Lumpkin. So thank you, sir, for being here. This man has such patience, you would not even believe it. Also, I want to acknowledge our LifeLine team. Could y'all stand up a second? Just like, please. Thank you. And I'd like, Annie, would you remain standing for just a second? Thank you. This is Annie Alder. Annie Alder is the you can sit down now. You're good. She is the very unassuming but incredibly amazing our director of DeKalb County Animal Services of the shelter. So I know you were all moved by the video that Sonali shared, and that's where Annie works. And so so much of what we're going to talk about today is under her direction. If it's not her direction, it's Andrea Peterson, who all these great ideas that people come up with, they bring them to me, and I'll go, yeah, LifeLine can do that, and then I ask Andrea, and she does it. So thank you, Andrea, for that. I don't know if there's anyone else. One other group of people I'd like to stand real quick. If you're still here, most of you, if you've ever volunteered at LifeLine and you currently volunteer, please stand up and let's everyone applaud these people who are, none of this would be possible without you. So thank you so much. So I'm here to talk about capacity building and community initiatives, and this is really ways that LifeLine's work and the county's work has aligned with the advisory board's 5-year plan, and some different things that we're doing and doing together, and that LifeLine has done to move the needle on this. So here's the issue. This is from the DeKalb County Animal Shelter. 8,954 animals entered the DeKalb shelter last year. That is a record. That's the most animals that have entered the shelter since LifeLine's been managing it since 2013. It's actually a record since 2005. And in 2005, LifeLine opened its first spay-neuter clinic to the public here in DeKalb County. And we did start to see some impact, and now we're back. And so these are, again, this year, so far this year, same time period, we're 18% higher than we were last year, and that was a record. So things are tough, and I appreciate what Cole had to say as an introduction to this session that you've been all patiently here for. This is not an animal issue. The animal issue is what LifeLine's trying to take care of, but LifeLine's also trying to move the needle on the human issues, because every one of these animals, every one of these 8,954 animals came into our care because some sort of human struggle or human failure. And we need holistic solutions that support the community, support pets as family members, support families. And so this is just a small part of it. But this is the reality of what families in our county are facing, and I think everywhere. I was stunned. I don't know about you, but I was stunned by that statistic that 24 million pets are living in poverty. That's not good news. Let's see if we can go forward. Nope. Okay. There we go. So we have to deal with what's here now. That's part of what LifeLine does. There are a lot of forward-looking solutions that we're working to implement, but first we've got to take care of where we are today. So one of those, the two things most on my mind are capacity building, both from a physical standpoint, but also from an organizational standpoint, and then also community initiatives for longer-term solutions. So this is the biggest news. You've heard about this a couple of times, but these are the actual photos. And I don't know how many of you have seen it. I know there aren't very many photos floating around, but look at the inside of those kennels. They're huge. They're huge. And each one holds an individual dog. And the inside is smaller than the outside. They have a dedicated outdoor run. So I want to recognize someone who I bet never gets credit, Director Stowall. Is that him? Hi, Sonali. So this is how this happened. The COO, Zach Williams, texted me a photo and said, hey, Stovall found these. What do you think? And I'm like, those are cool. Let's look at what we can do. So this is really the brainchild of the county's facilities management department, and they are making this happen. We've got 4 buildings in place now. Another 6 will be coming in. There'll be the landscaping and sidewalks that you see there, and we hope to be able to move into them towards the end of July. I don't know, are we still looking at that time frame? I've got him on the spot. He's not acknowledging, but so we're just going to move on. The other thing is we had to build organizational capacity, and with your help, the help of volunteers, the help of our community, all of our life-saving numbers are up here in 2025. 2024, we're seeing increases in adoptions, a 6% increase, but now a 14% increase so far. This year, our rescue transfers are up. They were up last year, they're up again this year. One of my favorite statistics, our return to home statistics are looking better. Those are up 37% so far this year, so that's really great. That we are doing the work, you are doing the work to help drive people to the shelter and get them to reclaim their pets. So these are really great numbers. The court case number is a phenomenal number, so thank you so much to Attorney Welch and McDonald. Y'all have rocked it, so we're really grateful for that. One of the keys to our success with this incredible intake is you. It's our foster program. Right this minute, or at least yesterday, they were 917 dogs and cats, and I think maybe a parakeet in foster homes. The total foster placements for 2024 was over 4,000, and that number is up 39% so far this year. So we're really grateful for the help of our community, and we have foster opportunities for everything, for the afternoon, for the weekend, for 2 weeks, for 3.5 years on a court case. And I think I can scroll back. So these are pets in foster care, and these are pets in the shelter. Foster's the future, and this is really the greatest expansion that we can make, is the expansion with the community support in foster care. We've also, LifeLine, I think most of you know that LifeLine operates the animal shelter, but we also operate affordable low-cost veterinary care clinic. We have 2 high-volume spay-neuter clinics. We have our own private shelter that acts as overflow for both our operations here in Fulton and DeKalb. And so LifeLine has an umbrella that supports the additional needs of each shelter. So last year we implemented a pilot program to support veterinary care for this very large foster network. This was provided by donations to LifeLine, and allows our fosters, it's only in DeKalb County, allows our fosters to be able to visit any VCA clinic for veterinary care for their fosters. And then we added an organization-wide foster program manager, and that really, I think, has really enhanced our foster program and provided support. We're revamping a lot of things. Her name is Daisy. A lot of you know her as Daisy Lifeline. I don't know who the woman is in the picture, but that's Daisy. She's really adorable. No, the dog is Ewok, and that's Daisy. Our community animal center has really stepped up to help with the DeKalb issue. So far, about 13% of our total intake at the DeKalb Animal Shelter has been transferred over to our LifeLine Community Animal Center. So it's over 1,500 pets since the beginning of last year. And then our staff at DeKalb Animal Services. So this is really one of the biggest increases that we've got, and that's we've done this in conjunction with DeKalb County. In 2023, when the advisory board started working and collecting data for the 5-year plan, we had 84 positions. We had about a 25% vacancy rate. It was tough. That was a tough time. Hiring was very difficult. We've increased that over time with assistance from the county up to 111 positions, so that's a 32% increase. We're still running at about a 10% vacancy rate, but this is where we increased our staff. I'm talking fast because we've really run out of time, but I want you to see all this, so I'm just gonna speed on through. We've also made investments in the overall LifeLine structure to support our DeKalb operations. So we've added a director of shelter medicine, which I think is really fantastic, is really going to help our clinic at DeKalb. We've added a specialized medical trainer to provide training to not only to our clinical teams at DeKalb, but also to the animal care teams and even to our community support teams. Our foster program manager, Daisy, and her cute dog, Ewok. Our director of technical operations, data manager, and IT systems solutions manager. This is very exciting for us because animal sheltering is sort of backwards when it comes to software development. And a lot of people have had or know some of the challenges that we've had in trying to make all of our systems work together. So this has been an important step for us to be able to really provide a service. I want to say a 21st century service. And it is and then a special projects manager. This is someone who's really, Sonali mentioned, talking about implementations of policies. And this is someone who's really key in that for us. And then a chief people officer who is here in the room. You can wave, our chief people officer, to really focus on a culture of learning and development for our teams. With her assistance, we've been able to really increase our training at DeKalb. In March, 250 hours of training for just our DeKalb team, and then in April, another 232 hours. So it's really, I think she implemented a little bit of a contest with the different HR managers that we have, and they're competing heavily for training. We've also launched a very intensive management training course for all of our supervisors, department managers, directors, all the way up to the officers of the organization. And then, as I mentioned, our medical trainer is providing much more intensive hands-on curriculum for all of our clinic personnel. All right, so that's that capacity. And then we have to look at this capacity and the community and our various community initiatives. And this is unique. I think it was about a year and a half ago, maybe about 2 years, because we implemented the programs beginning in April. It was really the CEO at the time and the COO, Director Lumpkin, wanted to see solutions that would look upstream. And not only did they want to see it, the commissioners wanted to see it, and they agreed to fund it. And that, for so long, so much of the work that we did in the community, LifeLine funded. And the county has really stepped up and enabled us to provide these additional services. So we have a mobile clinic that was donated to LifeLine that we're able to utilize in DeKalb County for free services. We've seen over 1,300 patients through our mobile clinic. We also are providing free care, veterinary care for sick or injured pets of DeKalb County residents. It used to be the average vet visit was about $400, but if you've been to a veterinarian lately, the average vet visit is probably close to $600 or $700 at this point. We provide these affordable services at LifeLine's clinic, but there are people who can't afford what we're doing, and DeKalb County is footing the bill for them. So these are for animals that are having, illnesses and or accidental injuries, and they're able to get free care at our community animal center. Our pet food bank, 943 families, this is probably about thousands of pets have received food from the monthly pet food bank, also funded by DeKalb County. You can see that van there. Pretty sure that might be a community cat caretaker. It's very large bags of cat food, and it's just got the marks of a community cat caretaker going on there. So those of you who know that, who have friends of community cats, know the look. And then spay-neuter, we have a free spay-neuter program in DeKalb County where we're up to 949 free spay-neuter surgeries. I didn't put this statistic in here, but this is a really, really unique statistic, is that the county, between the county and Commissioner Spears, The county's funded $350,000 in spay-neuter support. And this is, yeah, thank you. At least by the end of this year. There's a person in one of these photos I'd like to acknowledge because I see her in the audience. Dr. Mary Elizabeth Ellard is there. Dr. Ellard and I like to say I've been in spay-neuter for about 20 years, which is true. We opened our first clinic in 2005, but it's not really me. It's people like Dr. Ellard who's been probably working with us that whole 20 years, I think so. So LifeLine has fixed its 210,000 cats and dogs, 65,000 community cats. And I'm gonna give Dr. Ellard at least 10% of that, so maybe 20,000, 30,000 spay neuters right there, sitting right there. All right, our Healthy Pets events. These are something that are funded primarily, well, almost all through donations. I believe we did get a contribution from Commissioner Patrick on one of these events in 2024. And I'd like to acknowledge Warren Simmons. Are you still here? There he is. Councilmember Warren Simmons. We partnered with him for the last 3 years in Doraville on these events. 2,400 pets last year received free vaccinations, pet food, microchips, vouchers for free spay neuter. And this shows you people care. If there's access, if you make it available, they'll be there. I also need to thank Chief Lumpkin and the police department for helping parking. You can't imagine the nightmare on this. So, and then so far this year, this was Councilmember Simmons' event. We did 1,190 pets at that event. So it was at the assembly, and we hope to be able to return there. Also want to talk to you a little bit about what Commissioner Spears does, because I don't think she takes enough credit, but she provides the funding and the inspiration. The first DeKalb County Spay-a-thon, 191 free spay-neuter surgeries. We did 160 of them at LifeLine, 31 at Paws Atlanta, and they're over there. Thank you. Big thanks to Paws Atlanta. This was a partnership with the Georgia Pet Coalition, and Peggy McCarthey herself played a big role in making sure that this happened. And I believe, Dr. Ellard, you were there for that too? Yeah. If you're talking high volume spay neuter, you're talking that she's there. Also, the community cat spay neuter, 100 plus free spay neuter surgeries for community cats, also from Commissioner Spears. And then I'm going to get it right because I can see it, high quality, high volume spay neuter wet labs. This is high volume spay neuter is an art and a science, and veterinarians need to be trained in these techniques, and there really are not a lot of places where that can happen. So we had the first two in Georgia. The one that we had for cats was the first one in Georgia, and then the one for dogs was the first high quality, high volume spay neuter wet lab for dogs anywhere. So we're very excited to do that. And again, that was Commissioner Spears who was able to provide funding for that, and her team who helped organize these things. So, and then like all of these initiatives, Andrea makes sure that they actually occur. The people show up. And then also, in addition to all of this work, we're also out in the community on behalf of DeKalb County Animal Services. This is, and I think we had the Mayor Chamblee was here a minute ago. He's probably gone by now. But at the Chamblee City Council meetings, we have a little adoption moment once a month. Volunteer groups, 78 volunteer groups at the shelter last year, and then 55 events out in the community. And I'm finished. I went through it really fast. So get involved, please. There's a QR code there with information. Adopt, foster, volunteer, advocate, donate. Please spay and neuter your pets. Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. We are so proud and truly happy that you lead our animal services, at least on the shelter side, our foster, our adoptions here in DeKalb County, as well as Fulton County. Wish we could have more of you here in DeKalb County. So today, as you know, we have run way over time and y'all are dropping like flies. So we are making a couple minor adjustments to our agenda. Next, we will hear from our Animal Enforcement Director, Director Natasha Wallen. And after that, we will close out today's session. So if our speakers would make it to the stage after our lovely director speaks, and then we will close out. Thank you so much. You are up, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, DeKalb County. I'm excited to be here. Last year I was at the event and just kind of getting used to what they do talk about and what they're standing for. I've been in animal enforcement for a year now. Made director in October, so it's been a short time to learn a whole lot. So I'm going to, let's see, okay, I'm going to fly through my presentation real quick just to get it out there. 5-point plan that Sonali spoke about earlier and how we've contributed to that thus far. Field services and enforcement improvements. The staff were focusing on learnings, NACA, getting their certifications, so when they're out on calls, they can make better calls on how they're citing people, helping people, etc. Increasing coordination with local jurisdictions, courts, shelters. We definitely talk to the courts more. Law department, I know they get tired of seeing questions from me, but we just want to make sure that when our cases go to court, they'll actually get resolved the proper way rather than just kind of sweeping it aside because it's an animal and it'll be okay. And then, of course, new vehicles so we can get to the calls that we're asked to go out to. Community engagement. We all love public speaking, but we know that it's important to get out there and let our name be known because sometimes if they're not going straight to the shelter, we are the face for the department. When it comes to animal situations. So we work with schools, various communities. We have a training specialist now that focuses on specific training for our academies and also ongoing training for the ACOs that are there. So we meet up with the schools just to spread, basic knowledge about animals that people don't know about. So we've actually had an animal owner, it was 7 animals, none of them were vaccinated, none of them were taken care of, they weren't groomed. So we just gave them a notice to comply instead of hitting them with citations. We gave them 10 days and we were just like, we're gonna end up taking those poor animals. Sure enough, we went back, every single one of them was vaccinated, groomed, they were so cute. And we were all like, wait, really? Seriously? Like, we were all surprised, but a little education goes a long way, and that was 10, yeah, they deserve that. That was 10 animals that we kept calling Annie, we're probably gonna have to go pick them up today, and she's like, oh gosh, okay. You know, Annie, we're heading over there, okay, and then it was like, surprise, we don't have to, so we are really grateful for that. Growth, we're filling hopefully the last 4 or 5 animal enforcement funded positions, so we'll have more feet on the ground to deal with the animals. Department-wide NACA training, thanks to Commissioner Spears. Thank you very much. And of course, we're talking with IT to get our antiquated paper system digitized so we can get specific information and know what we need to target, what parts of the community need more help, what they need help with, etc. And of course, training, like I said, of current and new staff. Looking ahead, improving on court cases. Our solicitor's office, they're so awesome. They hear from us all the time too. As soon as a case comes in, they've been working with us to make sure on the front end we have what we need, so when it gets to the tail end, it's already set and ready to go. So thank you all very, very much for taking all my emails and calls and everything. Our digitized system, sharing educational and resource information with the community. LifeLine offers a lot, but people on the south side of the county don't necessarily either know about it or have access to get to it. So sometimes our officers have to get food and bring to someone that doesn't have it or, you know, is just down on their luck. And of course, strengthening interdepartmental collaboration with the courts, shelters, the precincts, etc. All right, and then I can't go without talking about our wonderful staff. This is our front office staff. Chris, if you can stand up. He's one of our front office people. The rest of them couldn't come. But they take the calls, sometimes handle, thank you, dear, thank you. Sometimes handle calls before they even have to go out. People call in frantic, don't know what to do, and they're able to help them, give them resources over the phone, tell them how to, handle that situation. So that really helps our field staff. And if you all were here a year ago, you know that when I got here, we only had 3. And that was insane to me. I don't know how they function, but they came in and they handled those calls like nobody's business. So yeah, the hate mail, it was pretty rough, but they were out there doing their thing. But now we are 11 strong. I know there's only 9 in the picture. All right. Yep. So 2 of our officers weren't there the day we took the picture, so I do know how to count, but we do have 11. And actually, we're down to 10 because Officer Howard, which I'll go back one, the guy in the middle, he just got promoted to supervisor. So now we have all 3 field supervisors, and our field officers. So we have an awesome team. They really do go out there and do the work. When it was snowing, horrible weather, they come in smelling like things I've never thought could exist, but they do it. So I just want to thank them and the community. Thank you for all the support you do give us, because it's a tough job. So thank you.
All righty, folks. Well, if our speakers could please make their way to the front. And Director Wallen, that applause is for you. Thank you. I'm really, truly thrilled that you agreed to join us today. I think so many people, and along with Mr. Welch and Niki, would like to put a face with a name, because I know behind that curtain there are, or at least I hope y'all know, a lot of people that are working in animal services in DeKalb County. Thank you, audience, so much for sticking with us today. I know that we ran over almost by 30 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out. But before we do, I also would like to quickly recognize our speakers, and we are going to pin our speakers, so let's give them a round of applause. And Karen and Sonia, if y'all go ahead and pin them. This is kind of a DeKalb County tradition. Once you come and do an inspirational, we pin you. So before you all walk out, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you leave here today inspired. I hope you truly understand that there are people in DeKalb County government. We care. We are working hard. We're looking towards innovative policies and programs that will really help us tackle the animal services and overpopulation crisis that we have been grappling with for a very long time now. Lastly, thank you to all of you for caring and taking time, for lifting up your voice, for rolling up your sleeves, and everything else you do for animals in DeKalb. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week.